And on Big Monday, we're in the SWAC, and the marching bands mean everything at this conference in one of the most famous in the world, Grambling State. And that's our location tonight on Big Monday, the Omni Assembly Center for Mississippi Valley State on the road to take on Grambling. Hello again, everybody. Corey Alexander here, Dave Lamont right here. Thank you very much for joining us. And we are at the time of the year in all conferences, certainly in the SWAC, where you start looking at the standings as much as you do the scores.
It makes every game important, especially as you get to the midway point cluster where we are now. And Grambling, one of those teams that was picked preseason to finish at the top of the SWAC, trying to find its way up. Prairie View A&M leading the pack right now at 8-0. But Grambling trying to get a big win here tonight on their home court and work their way back to the top.
And as you can already have seen behind us, they've got a home court advantage here with the kind of fans that come in this building to root for the home side. Now, one of the problems for the Delta Devils has been winning games that are close and maybe on-floor leadership. That is not a problem for Grambling.
It's not, because Grambling has a floor leader in Ivy Smith. They have someone that can finish plays. He leads the SWAC in free throws made, free throws attempted, and they have a finisher, someone they can put the basketball in his hands at the end of the game. So now when you look at him, and he also leads their defense, leading the SWAC in steals as well. So they have a finisher. That's what the Delta Devils have been missing this season.
They've had close games. They've had close losses. They just haven't been able to close them out. And they are looking for their first win away from home. Ivy Smith, all first team in the SWAC last season. Keith Kimball, Nathan Bemis, and Trent Buse are officials for tonight. We're ready to go on Big Monday in Grambling, Louisiana. Home team in the white with the black and yellow trim, and the Delta Devils will take the ball. That's Tariq Eckwood with it, joined by Jordan Evans, Emmanuel E.J., Gregory Jones-Rollins, and Dante Scott. A couple of Mississippi Valley State players will not be starting the game.
I had a little incident with missing the bus this morning. Coach holding them accountable. But they will see action. Michael Green actually didn't see action after missing practice on Saturday, but he will also not be in the starting lineup, but will participate in this game.
You see the Grambling starting five. We talked about Ivy Smith. And he has the ball right there after the shot. Yeah, the two punished players, Alexa Corison and Marcus Mitchell, spent the entire walkthrough running the steps here at the arena. And this is a pretty good-sized building. They're letting them play down to the floor here, and MVSU comes away with it. Eckwood. That's Evans. Little flipper. Missed everything. Rebound to Grambling, and that is Smith.
And that's a smart play there by Smith, not having numbers. And Coach Jackson wants to make sure that they get the ball to their bigs, allow them to be able to operate, because that's where they feel they have an advantage over the most of the teams in the SWAC. And when they push and have an opportunity to score, they want to do it with their guards. But if nothing there, make sure they slow it down and allow their bigs to get involved in the action.
Gregory Jones-Rollins, 25, an interesting story. We'll get to his in a minute. Evans on the drive, had it knocked away by Gaston, and it's off Gaston. So with 9 seconds to go, the Delta Devils will get it back.
And you can look at the floor and see pretty much at every position there's a size advantage for the Tigers.
Well, that shot's going to be way off. Might have even seen Paul Killiard get a little piece of that. Smith thought about it, but retreated.
Again, this is a scenario where Grambling has played with way too many turnovers early in the season. So Coach Jackson wants to slow it down a little bit, make sure they get quality opportunities when they get the ball on the offensive end of the floor. They work so hard defensively. He doesn't want to waste that effort on not getting good looks.
Take a look at Andre Payne in his 5th season at Mississippi Valley State. And Dante Jackson, his opposite number. Ooh, big finish for Devontae Jackson.
And that's where the advantage is for Grambling. They want to make sure they get their opportunities in the paint, because as you see, Jackson able to finish when he gets his opportunities at the rim.
Right back the other way when Jones-Rollins, but his layup no good. Smith leads the Tigers into the front court.
And you see Smith once again pushing it in transition, but with nothing there, pulls it back out.
Rollins is senior, finishing out his college career that did not begin at Mississippi Valley State. Steal by Ivy Smith Jr. And he gets it right back. Lost the handle, and they'll give him a little break. Jackson. Tough shot. Good defense that time by MVSU. Oh, great pass by Jones Rollins. EJ, he sort of forgot where he was, but he draws the contact and will go to the line.
And off the inbounds play, Grambling with the nice fake handoff from Jackson, who's able to finish around the rim. As you see, Dante Jackson in his second year as the head coach for the Grambling State Tigers. Won the regular season title a year ago in his first season. But the Tigers unable to participate in the postseason because of APR violations. So this year now an opportunity to be able to play in the postseason, and he and his team are poised to get back to the top of this league and see if they can represent the SWAC in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, they have had a marked improvement in grade point average, so they have no eligibility issues at all. 2 free throws good. Jackson checks out of the game, and Xavier Peart will come in at 21.
And now you see a 1-3-1 zone for Mississippi Valley State that transforms, but the thing about that is being able to match up with all the shooters on the perimeter, and that's where it's going to be up to Grambling to knock down some shots and try to get the Delta Devils out of that zone where they have to guard them man-to-man and allow them to be able to take advantage of their size.
By the way, that acronym APR, Academic Progress Report, is what it is. There is a standard in the NCAA that if you fail to meet it, you will be punished. And it can cost you postseason appearances, and that's exactly what happened to Grambling last year. They have improved theirs solidly this year.
And Coach Jackson knew about the APR issues when he took the job, and we asked him early today simply about that. Say, did you know what was going on? He said, I knew, but he said, this is Grambling. If you had an opportunity to coach here, you take advantage of it. This is the place that Eddie Robinson built on the gridiron. Coach Jackson wants to do something very similar here on the hardwood.
He'll watch second foul on Grambling. And that's going to be on Peart. And to the line, he's got a good look at Gregory Jones Rollins, who is an NAIA veteran, but really, really wanted to play Division I, even though he could only join this team in January. And so he's only played 9 games. Or actually, it was December. His first game was against Grand Canyon. That was right around Christmas time. So this is it for him, but he just wanted to live that dream of D1 basketball. And
actually paid his own way to come to Mississippi Valley State. Came to join the program as a walk-on. And Coach Payne actually reached out to him and told him, hey, I have opportunities for you where you can go to another NAIA school and be on scholarship. But this was his dream. He wanted to play Division I basketball, and the Delta Devils gave him an opportunity to do so.
That's a 3 ball. And Grambling goes in front 5-4. Very quickly, Jones Rollins missing everything there with the offensive rebound to Eckwood. Shot clock did not reset. Jordan Evans, he likes to shoot the 3 ball, and he's very good at it. Big finish, no! Wow. If EJ had landed that, that would have been spectacular.
It wasn't a big finish, but it was a big attempt. And I'll take that attempt anytime from the big fella. Much prefer you go to the rim that way than lay it up soft.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Snickers. You're off your game when you're hungry. Eat a Snickers.
So that's probably the one that I would go to, but Stan Van Gundy definitely has that one on lockdown. So,
yes,
but I'll be checking that one out.
Well, I got to tell you, if I could replace Dan Schulman for a day, to have a chance to work with Dickie V and Hubie would be unbelievable. So. It's going to be out of bounds. And with 10 seconds on the shot clock, the Tigers will have to manufacture something.
A nice attack by Ribeiro there, getting into the paint, unable to drop it off. But again, the penetration, trying to find his bigs on the inside. You see it's a focus to get the basketball inside for Grambling State.
Traveling call that time on Peart. Well, Mississippi Valley State has 4 points, but no baskets. They're 0 for 7 from the field right now, including 0 for 2 from 3. They are 4 for 4 from the foul line. Dante Scott, Jordan Evans. Thought about EJ, and now, yep, finally get one to drop.
And Evans does most of his damage from beyond the three-point arc, which you see that's the second time he's actually attacked the basket. Unable to finish on the first one, but that time gets a bucket, adding another dimension to his game.
And Evans has shot 108 threes so far. Nice touch that time for Dallas Polk Hilliard, a junior out of Milwaukee. And the Tigers go back in front.
And that's the thing about the Tigers. They have so many different guys that can hurt you. Polk Hilliard's one of their leading scorers, but he actually watched a teammate go for 21 and sat the majority of the game on Saturday. And that's one of the things that Coach Jackson talked to us about, the culture that they have. When someone else is rolling, make sure you cheer on your brother, especially when it results in a win.
Attacking the rack is working now for the Delta Devils as they take the lead back. Peart is a big body there at the foul line to set some screens, which he does. Peart kicks it back out. Got to shoot this with 2 on the clock. Smith pulls up. And high into the air goes Emmanuel EJ, senior out of Nigeria. Scott, good post position. And it has been attack now in the paint.
Well, and Dante Scott, even undersized in that position going up against Polk Hilliard, does a great job of finding his spot on the post and then using that strong upper body to be able to finish. Dante Scott more of a scorer than he is a shooter, but knows how to get it done in different areas in the game.
That's Nigel Ribeiro, who's in there now, senior out of Chesapeake, Virginia, number 2.
With nice interior passing. We saw Polk Hilliard knock down the jumper earlier, draws the double team, and then drops it off to Peart, who was able to finish through the contact, an opportunity for the and one.
Tarico Simmons hit with that foul.
And one thing we've already seen from Grambling State, you've probably already seen 10 players on the floor. They get a lot of bodies in. Ivy Smith spends a lot of time on the floor, but outside of that, most of their guys are interchangeable. And that's one of the areas where, Coach Jackson feels as though they can wear teams down because they have so much talent that they can go play 10, often 11 guys and have fresher legs at the end of the game.
Leaning in on the defender a little bit there was Jackson. Another whistle here. It'll be MVSU ball. Mentioned substitutions. This time it'll be Mississippi Valley State going to the bench.
And talking with Coach Payne earlier today, he said that he wanted to make sure that his team just hung around by halftime. He felt as though Grambling probably would look at their 1-7 record in the SWAC and feel like, okay, we've got this game in the bag. These guys aren't going to come in and compete. But he knows that his guys have been in every game this year. And right now, they've been the aggressor attacking the paint as they get to the free throw line once again.
Now, foul on Trayvon Bunch. You take a good look there at Caleb Allison, who has struggled from the line. That looked awfully good.
I was about to say, that's a good-looking stroke for someone who struggles from the free throw line.
We showed you 39%, but he didn't shoot 39% that way. But to your point about the size for Graham, every time I look, there's somebody who's about 7 feet tall in the game.
Yeah, that's what Coach Payne told us. He said, the thing, we have size, but the difference is they have a lot of size. They play all those guys, and you see the emphasis on getting the ball to those post players, especially against the zone, and allowing them to work high-low.
That foul on Tarico Simmons is his second. Will return. Grambling down by 2, going to the line.
Cross-checking.
Nice.
What's in your wallet? Oh, come on!
Let's have a throwback just a couple of nights ago. Shaquilla Hill of Grambling, number 2 in the white uniform, is about to do something she's done before, but nobody's ever done twice. A quadruple double. 21 points, 16 rebounds, 13 assists, and she had 9 steals with about a minute to go and got number 10 the hard way. That was a better catch than most of the ones I saw in the Super Bowl. Congratulations on all of that.
Thank you.
And are you conscious of what you're doing when you're putting up numbers like that?
Sometimes I am, but last game I was very conscious. They let me know at halftime, and then once the crowd kind of got a hold of it, they were like informing me what was going on. So last game I kind of knew what was going on the whole game.
Well, and of course, you know, how does it feel for you being associated with the names of Hakeem Olajuwon? Because you and he are the only 2 players in major basketball to ever have multiple quadruple doubles. There have been 5 people to do it in college basketball, Division I history, but the only name on there twice happens to be yours. How does that make you feel?
That's a blessing. That's all I can really say. It makes me feel really blessed and honored to know that I go out there and give my all, and it's noticed by everybody, and it's also noticed on the stat sheet.
And, of course, you know, walking in today, and oftentimes the women's games aren't as well attended as the men's games are, especially when you come into an HBCU environment. But here it seems as though the Tiger faithful are here to watch you play. You got something going here in Grambling.
Yes, I really appreciate all the people that come to the game, that come to support, and they come to every home game. It's not like they just kind of have been coming because of the quadruple double. They kind of come and support all of our games.
And you, of course, stand here making sure you come in and check out the guys. What are you seeing out here right now from your Tigers? What do they need to be doing better?
They need to just execute on their offense and then rebound more, and they should be pretty straight.
And right on cue, there's a rebound for Grambling, handled by Prince Moss. He was the player that Corey referred to earlier who had the big night when Polk Hilliard sat, and it was Moss who benefited from that.
And for the Tigers, they believe in strength in numbers and making sure that all 10 to 12 guys are able to go out and compete on a nightly basis. And whoever has it rolling, I believe we have an offensive interference on that play, but whoever has it rolling is going to get their opportunity to play. And Coach Jackson expects for their teammates to be happy for them. It's not about any me's here, it's simply about the team. Speaking of team, how do your teammates react when you do something like go out and get a quadruple double? I didn't want to demean it by saying a triple double.
Come on,
because that's so average for someone else.
Actually, my teammates are probably the most supportive outside of the fans. They kind of knew, and they were pushing me, and then they were kind of more excited than I was. I kind of had like a overwhelming feeling, but they were so excited. They were yelling. They were happy. Everybody wanted to go out. I didn't even want to go out. They like pushed me to go out. They were just very supportive.
Well, I hope you didn't have to pay for anything when you went out.
No.
Turnover by Grambling as they had the rebound but stepped out of bounds, so it will be a fresh shot clock for the Delta Devils, who lead by 1, looking for their first road win of the season.
You know, as a point guard and a senior, you and Ivy Smith Jr. both came in at the same time, came into Grambling at the same time? No? Well, again, for you guys both as point guards, how do you go about looking at his game, and do you think he actually checks out some of your game?
Actually, I look at his game a lot. He's very efficient in everything that he does. And actually, I try to kind of model my game after him. The Prairie View game, the game before, Ivy ended up hitting the game-winning shot and then getting the block. And then the Prairie View game, I ended up doing like the exact same thing. And my saying that I tell him all the time is I wipe my shoes before the game to say, make me like Ivy.
I love that. Well, I can tell you right now, my experience, I went to the University of Virginia. In my freshman year, we had on our women's team, we had a senior point guard by the name of Dawn Staley. You ever heard that name?
Yes, sir.
And I can tell you right now, I tried to do the stuff that she was doing in games. It often got me in trouble. A lot of passes she was throwing, I couldn't get away with. But definitely love watching her play and try to emulate a lot of things that I saw. So I'm sure Ivy's checking you out as well, trying to do some of the things that you do.
Now, very often in the SWAC, you'll have a doubleheader, and the women played earlier tonight against Mississippi Valley State in an unbelievably exciting game that came down to the very end of the fourth quarter. We're going to show you a little bit of what happened because it was an eventful last minute. EJ underneath. Two big bodies going at it. He'll kick it. Flat-footed three ball. And the rebound going down to Bunch.
And right now, neither team has really been able to get going much from beyond the three-point arc. It's been a game that's been played inside the paint, which is an advantage for Grambling. But right now, Mississippi Valley State holds the edge.
A 10-second violation there. Unbelievable. That's just a little bit of a mental act. All right, so Chicago's number 2 right here. This is what we thought might have been the go-ahead basket.
Tough finish right there from the concentration. And then defensively getting over in the strip. Now, Chicago, tell us what happens right here.
I had so much emotion. Actually, I think she's kind of been there like all 4 years that I have been there. So it's kind of been like a rivalry. She's actually pretty good. And so we've kind of had like a little rivalry going. So then it was just so much emotion going through my body and going through my head because the play before I had just scored. And so then I was so excited and I started clapping and I ended up getting a tape.
Yeah, those free throws were made, and it ended up being the difference in the game, and it was a Mississippi Valley State win. But that play there, I think, the steal and the bucket really gave everybody an idea of your talent, and that crowd was into it here. Man, I'll tell you what.
Well, I will tell you this. You have done a number of impressive things, young lady, but I will tell you I was most impressed that after what happened at the end of the game, regardless of the outcome, you still came out, stood with your team as the game was over. I believe you guys sang the school song.
Yes, sir.
And you stood with your teammates and basically, you know, and you could tell emotionally it wasn't what you wanted to do, but you did it.
Yes, sir.
And that was very impressive. You showed a lot of class on that. I appreciate that, especially after what happened. And the best of luck to you throughout the remainder of your career. And for the record, I want you to play professional basketball for a long time so I can keep my job as well as you do on TV.
Yes,
I don't want you over here right now.
That too.
Well, Shekyla, thank you very much. Congratulations on your achievements, and good luck the rest of the way. And we thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you can watch anywhere. Of course, the ACC is your account, Corey. What do you think of that matchup?
Well, the big thing for Virginia is Ty Jerome going to be healthy. That's the concern. He missed the Miami game. Ty Jerome, the leader for the University of Virginia basketball team, and Trey Jones will be back in the lineup. He missed the first matchup at Cameron Indoor, so when you get both point guards back in the mix of this game, we'll see which one has more of an impact, because we know what you're going to see from DeAndre Hunter from Virginia, as well as Zion Williamson and R.J. Barrett at Duke.
Shot fake, step up for the two. That was partially blocked. The third block shot for Grambling so far. They're probably turning the ball over. They've done it 6 times already. That's one reason they trail by 4. Well, that's a pretty move by Polk Hilliard, and that's going to count. He'll go to the line.
And Polk Hilliard getting out in transition, using his length to get to the other side of the basket. Nice touch and finish. And an opportunity for the and one. You know, and getting to the free throw line where Grambling State right now is 1 for 3 from the line. And this is an area where Coach Jackson talked to us about earlier, where he simply says, I can't coach the free throws, guys. And that's been an area where they've struggled. Now 1 for 4 from the line, making great plays, but you have to finish them off if you get fouled at the free throw line.
Dante Scott was hit with that foul, his first personal. Yeah, at the walkthrough today, the last thing he says, yeah, go shoot your free throws, you 66% shooters. That's going to be a long 2. It's going to be no good. Tap up one more time. And there is Dante Scott.
Well, you see Scott does his damage inside. He's more of a scorer than he is a shooter. And playing undersized often, you see him matched up, you know, giving up about 6 inches to Peart in the paint. But at the same time, he doesn't mind mixing it up with the big fellas.
Really long 3-ball, well off the mark.
I'm not sure that's the shot that Coach Jackson wanted. You see the conversation that he has with Moss.
Moss is a good three-point shooter statistically, but that one was...
Well, that one got him substituted for. And again, not in the flow of the offense. But, he's coming off of a 21-point game. Had a huge game on Saturday, and he's feeling good about himself. And that's often what you do at that point.
That's going to be an offensive foul drawn by Peart, who set up, and Eckwood ran him over.
And that's one, if you're Peart, you better get that call, because there's a big fella with the guard coming at you. You step in and take a charge, and you end up getting a blocking foul, and you didn't try to block that shot, you're going to hear about that when you go to the bench. But smart play by Peart there, stepping up, recognizing he could get outside of the restricted area and get that foul.
Well, Miami native has a bit of a size advantage on Eckwood, nearly 100-pound difference, about 85-pound difference listed weights between these two.
And oftentimes those listed weights can be off or exaggerated, but you see the two of them beside each other. It's realistic in this scenario.
Foul line jumper, rimmed out, tapped around, and Grambling will get it back.
Offensive rebounding is an area where Grambling should be great, especially when you look at the size. Even with Polk Hilliard on the perimeter, Grambling has a size advantage at every spot. So offensive rebounding should be something they definitely add to their repertoire.
Ooh, there's a solid rejection, and the Delta Devils will break it out. Do some contact. That's a smart play there by Eckwood, who drew the contact, and he'll have a chance at the three-point play.
And Eckwood, by drawing that contact, really takes Polk out of the play, doesn't allow him to attempt to block the shot. But you see the big-time block on the other end of the floor. And then as you see Eckwood jump into Polk Hilliard to absorb the contact and has the concentration to finish it off the glass. And one of the areas that's been the big difference in this game has been at the free throw line, where the Delta Devils definitely have an advantage.
They're 5 for 7 now as that three-point play opportunity is missed by Eckwood, but the lead is now 4. Another move by Polk Hilliard, who got called for the foul earlier. He makes up for it there.
And another chance where he uses that rim as a shield to finish on the other side. The scouting report might have to say, meet him on the other side of the rim. Don't even contest on the far side.
17 seconds left to shoot.
Polk Hilliard maneuvering once again, getting to the opposite side. And again, that's not a play the average person can make. You see the wingspan. The long arms allow him to be able to clear the basket and finish with a soft touch on the other side of the rim.
3 to shoot. Down at 1. Did not get it off in time. And he missed everything anyway, but it's going to be a turnover for Mississippi Valley State.
And that's the calling card for the Tigers. Defensively is where they lock in. The struggle for them has been handling the basketball. During a 3-game stretch where they lost 3 in a row, they averaged 23 turnovers a game. When they take care of the basketball, they're extremely difficult to build, especially to beat, because of the way they play defense.
Pompeo, the basket, a junior from Idaho, Meridian, Idaho, finding his way into Bayou country. Boy, into the scorer's table, actually into the radio broadcast went Evans. No call on that one. EJ gets the offensive rebound. He's been a problem underneath, but his shot is rejected that time.
And the Tigers lead the SWAC in block shots per game, so no stranger to getting that done. Polk Hilliard feeling it. We've seen him get to the basket a couple times in a row, which opens up that basket. He had to watch a teammate get off on Saturday, but he's came with his A game here tonight.
Live on the ESPN app, so you can watch it anywhere you go. Well, for Grambling and for Mississippi Valley State, shooting a bit of a problem. Grambling at 37.5%, the Delta Devils at 26%, and it's a 7-0 Grambling run right now to take the lead.
And Grambling's defense, number 1 in the SWAC in field goal percentage defense. And they've shown that here, as you mentioned, holding Mississippi State to less than 26% field goal shooting. Mississippi Valley State does have 5 free throws, which allows them to be able to stay in the game. But Grambling's defense definitely tightening up.
And surprisingly, the Delta Devils have the rebounding advantage, 21-18.
The offensive rebounding actually has been a plus for them. 6 offensive boards.
They got to hurry here, though. 5 to shoot. Handoff. 3 ball, a little contested. Back iron, no good. Rebound on the offensive end. That's number 7. But it's missed. And another big man, Trayvon Bunch, 7-footer out of Racine, Wisconsin.
But you wouldn't expect for Mississippi Valley State to have the rebounding advantage, especially on the offensive end, because of the size advantage. But this time my guy Anthony A.J. Gasson on the offensive board.
You know a Virginian somehow without even looking.
It's 2 of them on this Grambling State team. Nigel Ribeiro, Oscar Smith High School down in Chesapeake, and, of course, A.J. out of Highland Springs, where he played for legendary coach George Lancaster.
Rucker hit with that foul. Now, what part of Virginia? Because I'm a Northern Virginia guy.
He is Richmond, Virginia.
All right.
Specifically East End.
All right, that's further south than where I grew up.
And East End, Richmond, Highland Springs, and great basketball program. Coach Lancaster is now retired, but a legend in the state of Virginia.
Dante Scott checks out. Caleb Allison, number 32, back into the game for MVSU. Well, the line is just a killer for Grambling right now. They got 1 out of 2 that time.
Well, and oftentimes when you play so aggressively as they do, and you're not rewarded, you don't reward yourself by going to the free throw line and taking advantage of them, and the opposing team does.
Anthony Gaston was called for playing defense. And call I had an emotional breakdown almost with on the air Saturday. Not that that's exaggerating, but that whole thing of getting in a guy's way is now illegal.
Well, that's the cylinder.
Come on, man. Your job on defense, this is exactly what I said. Your job is to get in the way. Period.
Yes, you could be in the way. You just can't invade that cylinder.
That cylinder needs to go.
Well, that's what the rules say. And again,
I'm not blaming the official. He's doing his job.
Play by the rules.
I know the official's doing his job, but the rule makers. I sound like Jay Billis now. The rule makers need to look at
glad
that.
You said that, not me. Make sure everyone identifies. Dave Lamont said that. That was not Corey Alexander.
Jay did 5 minutes on the hook and hold rule the other day at the Indiana-Michigan State game. Maybe that's what inspired me. Good pass underneath. And a nice turnaround, Jay, by Apeo.
And you see Grambling also leads the SWAC in field goal percentage. So a lot of it has to do with the fact that they are getting very good looks on the interior. And that's one of the reasons why Coach Jackson talked to his team about he didn't want his guards taking a whole bunch of jump shots. He would much prefer.
Man, that's a hard fall for EJ. That foul will be on Bunch. And he got up very quickly. You can hear his body.
Much quicker than I would, as you see. EJ going up strong and coming down, inability to get his feet down before he landed. Thinks about it for a second. He pops up quickly.
I'd have milked that.
I can say right now, he'll feel it tomorrow.
That's the second foul on Bunch.
To be young, huh? To be able to go down like that and get back up and play. We would definitely have to go to commercial break if that was me falling down like that.
Well, free throws missed that time by Delta Devils, so the score remains 24-10, a 10-0 Tigers run.
We talk so much about the Delta Devils and how well they've shot free throws, and now they've stalled a bit. And that's an area of concern for Coach Payne as well. He talked to us about his team being in every game, but unable to finish at the free throw line. And Ivy Smith is able to finish off the nice pull-up jumper.
Well, they want to get Bunch out of the game, and he has to be careful because they attacked him briefly, did Allison, but he withdrew. Bunch still out there with the 2 fouls, but we are under 2 minutes in the half.
Well, and again, you don't want him to get that third foul, but if there's one area that Grambling definitely has depth, it's up front with the big. So they don't want him to pick up that third, but they have more than enough guys to play the position if he does.
And he will come out of the game now as Peart comes in. Shaq Effie gets the foul, a red shirt last year, a junior from Cincinnati. Number 0, and back to the line we trudge for Jordan Evans. He is a very good free throw shooter, just a little shy of 80%. We'll see how he does. And that breaks a long run for Grambling at 12-0. Yeah, it's the little things that Andre Payne talked to us about that he thinks has hurt his team in close games late. Not making a key free throw, not getting a key rebound.
And he's playing, Evans at the point. He's playing a number of guys at the point guard position that are more scorers than they are point guards. That's the advantage that Grambling has. They have a true floor general in Ivy Smith, especially when it comes to the end of the games, making free throws and making the right play. And that's really what the Delta Devils have been missing thus far this season, which reflects the 1-7 record in SWAC play.
Are we heading to the monitor here?
No, we had a timeout.
All right.
Got a timeout by Grambling.
They lead this one by 4. We'll be back in 30 seconds to see how the final minute 29 plays out.
Portal. Save $50 through February 18th.
So we promised you 30 seconds, and we have delivered. As you see, the field goal shooting for Mississippi Valley State has not been good. Neither team particularly accurate from 3 in the early going, and Grambling was down 20-14, but went on a big run, 12-0 before Mississippi Valley State broke it. Grambling will have the ball back with a fresh shot clock.
And Grambling does it with their defense. You've seen the defense tighten up and then getting timely buckets in the paint. Polk Hilliard finding his range from beyond the arc and attacking the basket. And Grambling is a team, they don't really want to play fast because they have the size to be able to play in the half court and also the guard play to be able to be good on the perimeter. So they don't really want to play an up-tempo game because they want to take advantage of the size that they have in the paint.
Kathy. And one-on-one there and drew contact. You can see the contact from Dante Scott. It might have got a piece of the ball, but he definitely got a piece of the shooter. And the Miami native picks up his second foul.
Yeah, that's a big foul for Scott, the leading scorer for the Delta Devils. But actually, Jones Rollins is the leading scorer in SWAC play. So they've got 2 guys that they can rely on to go out and get buckets, but need both of them available, especially when you're playing undersized as they are in this one.
And Jones Rollins has missed his first 5 shots. His only points of the night, Corey, been on 2 free throws. And 2 free throws going down for Athy, who normally is a little over 50%, but he made that look easy. He'll step out of the game.
And Coach Payne talking to us about, how Jones Rollins got started, and because he didn't play until, late, teams not knowing how to guard him, but now that they've scouted him, they've made it much more difficult for him to be able to operate on the offensive end of the floor. So that's going to be an adjustment by the senior to find ways to help his team, maybe often without being able to score.
The shooting struggles continue for the visitors, and Grambling has a chance to make this a pretty decent-sized halftime lead if they can convert here.
And we go back to the conversation we had earlier with Coach Payne about making sure his team was within striking distance at halftime. They need a couple of stops on this end of the floor, but that's hard to do when you allow Polk Hilliard to get good looks as such.
About 6 seconds differential between the 2 clocks. So where do you turn to if you're Mississippi Valley State for a big bucket here?
Well, you got to continue to go with your guys. Jones Rollins, Scott on the bench with the 2 fouls. You need your seniors to step up in this position.
Good pass, EJ. And he will have to earn it at the line. Peart, that's not a bad foul.
Well, that's what you expect to see from the big fella. We saw him take a charge earlier on the guard, but this time he sees the big fella going to the rim, goes up and contests, and got a lot of basketball. It looks as though he may have gotten it with the body down low, but did get to come up with a lot of basketball. And after the missed free throw, it turns out to be a very good foul.
And Peart picked up his second personal foul. Yeah, the free throw situation is changing before our eyes. All of a sudden, MVSU can't make them, and Grambling is getting hot from the line. That's one of the reasons they're up by 9. Certainly not the only one. There's one. That'll bring Lorenzo Hunt into the game. So you're right. We've seen about 19, 20 guys hit the floor in this first half.
Well, and, talking with both coaches before the game, they said they want to get all their guys in the game to try to stay as fresh as they can for crunch time at the end.
And especially since both these teams played on Saturday. Shot clock off. We're under 10. Smith, two-pointer. Perfect for Ivy Smith. Largest lead for Grambling, and it'll stay the largest lead for Grambling at 10. A big run. It was 20-14 at one point. 19-3. Grambling outscores Mississippi Valley State to take a 10-point lead into their respective dressing rooms. We'll step aside and have halftime festivities for you when we return to Grambling, Louisiana.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800 State Farm.
Traditions at Grambling State. You realize this band, not these, obviously these young people right here, but the Grambling State Tigers band played in the first two Super Bowls in Los Angeles and in Miami. And they are a powerhouse, one of the best in the land. Up by 10 and a half, Grambling State leading over Mississippi Valley State, along with Corey Alexander, Dave Lamont. And while we are basketball focused this evening here on Big Monday, you cannot come to Grambling and miss or forget about the name Eddie Robinson.
Well, the contributions that he made to this university have been tremendous. And, of course, the football field named after him, a museum here after Eddie Robinson, and really the person that most people will identify with when you mention Grambling State University.
408 victories over 57 seasons. Of course, there is a Coach of the Year award in college football named after him. He sent more than 200 players to the National Football League. They'll be celebrating his 100th birthday at the museum on the 13th of February and on the 18th at the College Football Hall of Fame as well. And the first HBCU player picked first in the draft, Buck Buchanan in 1963. And, of course, the Super Bowl MVP and the great Doug Williams.
And Doug Williams, a huge supporter of Grambling State University, had opportunity to spend some time with Doug this summer, and we could be back here telecasting his daughter play, showing me clips of his daughter, her basketball prowess, about 13 years old right now. And, I'm sure that Doug, the Super Bowl MVP, would love to see his daughter lacing it up here on the hardwood for the Grambling Tigers.
Well, the tradition here runs very deep. Right now they're honoring honor roll athletes out here, Corey, and you picked out a nugget here from this.
Absolutely. Eddie Robinson's great-great-granddaughter, Chloe, receiving academic reward for honor roll. She's over on the right in this picture.
In the black jacket and the pink pants. So the tradition of the Robinson name at this great university continues. We'll have a look back at the first half of the Tigers up by 10 on Big Monday.
Diamond Store.
Big Monday from Grambling, Louisiana. And in the SWAC tonight, Grambling State leading 33-23 over Mississippi Valley State. Mississippi Valley State has not had a basket for almost 5 minutes of actual basketball time, Corey, but they got off to a hot start.
They did get off to a hot start by attacking the paint and finishing at the rim. Great ball movement on the interior, even though playing undersized, was able to score in the paint. And then it was Grambling getting the basketball in the paint, and Dallas Pope-Hilliard does a great job finishing at the rim as well as beyond the three-point arc. He was able to knock down 2 threes in the first half. It's on his way to 12 points. And then Ivy Smith Jr. got it going at the end of the half. Multiple pull-up jump shots to help his team extend the lead to 10 going into the halftime break.
A lot of action in the SWAC tonight, with Jackson State leading by 5 over Arkansas Pine Bluff at halftime. Prairie View A&M leading Alabama State by 6, and well into the second half, Alabama A&M leading Texas Southern 61-58. You see our score and time here. We begin the second half, so everything really matters now because only 8 teams make it into the SWAC tournament. 3-ball off. Well-executed play and a wide-open shot, but just did not go down.
Yeah, great ball movement and got it to the scorer. Jones Rollins got a very good look, the leading scorer in SWAC play for Mississippi Valley State, but he's yet to get a field goal in this one, and that's what makes it difficult, especially on the road. And right now you're looking at a Delta Devils team that is 0-14 on the road all season. They only shoot, close to 30% on the road after shooting well over 40 in their home building. So the struggles continue for the Delta Devils when they get away from home.
Well, this run now is 21-3. And you mentioned Jones Mullins, Corey. He's 0 for 7 on the night there. A little roll around for Jordan Evans. A dangerous scorer, but he only has 6 points.
But one thing that Grambling has done is a great job of running Jordan Evans off the three-point line where he loves to find his looks.
Good pass underneath, and taking advantage of the position was Devontae Jackson.
And Jackson did a great job of really working his way up the lane, and a beautiful find from A.J. Gaston to get the ball to only his teammate could catch and finish.
Dribbling into a lot of traffic, and the interception, great anticipation at the time by Empeo.
And since probably about the first 10 minutes of the game, we've seen the defense from the Tigers really clamp down.
Paul Killiard. That's a very difficult shot into the teeth of the defense that time, attempted by Dante Scott. Grambling will race down the floor, and that will be an offensive foul. And you can see outside the cylinder that charge was taken.
On the previous possession, you see Jackson work his way up the lane, and then A.J. Gaston finding Jackson where only the 7-footer is able to catch and score.
One of our late arrivals is finally in the game. Marcus Mitchell in the headband, number 11 in the green.
And Mitchell missed the first half. Actually missed the bus this morning coming to shoot around, so
welcome to 2019. He had to Uber his way to get to the shoot around. I can't even imagine that embarrassment. Plus, he had to pay for it.
Well, and, he's also part of the size. And so having to play without he and Karachin in the first half gave up a lot of size for Coach Payne. But I appreciate the fact that Coach Payne is sticking to his guns. And what that's done is allowed Devontae Jackson with a big man against him play with a little more aggression in the post.
He changed his shirt. He had a white shirt on and a tie, and they're both gone. That's an and one opportunity coming up now here for Devontae Jackson. And no rattle at home. So I've heard of players who change into different uniforms, but Dante Jackson is taking coaching to a different level of changing the wardrobe. Excuse me, that was Andre Payne who's changed clothes.
Okay,
my mistake.
Well, Coach Payne's working hard over on the sideline. You can see he's got a little sweat going. He's working hard. So, oftentimes I've seen Coach Buzz Williams at Virginia Tech. John Thompson, of course, used to had the towel on. John Chaney. So coaches work hard on that sideline. I got no problem with Coach changing his shirt.
Maybe Andre Payne is hoping it brings him luck, and unfortunately it has not, as the lead has widened for Grambling to 15. Right now it just seems like Grambling's defense playing a huge part, and then that fake set up Ivy Smith for a wide open three.
And one of the things that Coach Payne talked to us about before the game was they could not allow Ivy Smith to take over the game. He has that level of capability of taking over a game, and since the end of the first half and to start the second half with his passing and his shooting, he's been able to do just that.
And in some cases, Corey, they're getting good shots. They're just not falling. Got to hustle for that. Yeah, nice, very clever bit of defense there by Dante Scott. A little bit of contact with Jackson, and that forced a mistake.
Well, against the zone, moving the basketball both sides, and then the pump fake by Ivy Smith, moving the defense, giving him more than enough time to get off the knockdown three-pointer.
Count that, and you're going to get a look at a 4-point play opportunity as Jordan Evans knocks down the three.
And we've talked about how well Grambling State has done keeping Jordan Evans off of the three-point line, but you see how dangerous he is when he has enough space and trying to get out and cover. And if you're going to do that, and I know it's not that he was intending to foul, but you don't allow him to get a clean look at that three. Although the woes from the free throw line continue into the second half for the Delta Devils.
Yeah, they were 8 of 13 in the first half. Grambling State just 4 out of 8.
With the 8 out of 13, they actually started out 5 of their first 6.
Interception. Evans broke free, but the defense got back quickly, and Evans tried to create. He had an open look. But, man, the Tigers got back fast on that opportunity.
Well, they're a defensive team. They're defense first. So one of the things that they have to get done is their transition defense, get back, build the wall. And they were able to do that off of the turnover.
Count that basket. A strong bucket by Ectolampeo.
And Peo showing you just how strong he is. Going to the left, able to finish with the contact. The concentration to pick up the 2, the opportunity for the and 1. And, of course, the flex when it was all said and done.
$2.99. There to be devoted. Only at Jared.
It's been a difficult season at times for Andre Payne, the head coach of Mississippi Valley State's Delta Devils. And, Corey, this is during the timeout.
But he's still coaching his team, coaching them hard, frustrated with the way they've approached the second half. And the clipboard pays for it. But I like his passion. I love what he's doing for this team. And really, that's a coach that believes in his team. He believes that they're much better than what they're showing, especially here on the road. We mentioned before, 0-14 on the road this season. But they've been in games, and right now allowing the Tigers to get out now to an 18-point lead, finding themselves in a position where they won't be in this game at the end unless they are able to make some changes here very soon.
In the first half, at one point, Mississippi Valley State led this game 20-14. You can do the math for yourself as to what that run has been like since then. And they're shooting less than 30%, and that percentage is going to go down a little bit more as Jackson skies for the rebound. Mississippi Valley State has 1 win in conference, Grambling 4-4. Delta Devils are 1-7. A rebound by Tarico Simmons. Pulls up. One more try off the window. And by the way, Dante Scott had to check out of the game. He has 4 personal fouls. That's a big loss for the Delta Devils.
That is a huge loss, especially when you consider the leading scorer on the season and their leading scorer in SWAC play. Jones Rollins still yet to get a field goal. So
off the screen, wide open 3. Splash down for Polk Hilliard.
I love the fact that watching the game, and of course, the fans back behind us, when they see Polk Hilliard get wide open at the top of the key, all I hear is, that's a bucket. Polk Hilliard pays it off. The home fans know exactly who the shooters are.
Another rebound for Jackson. Grambling has also shot exceptionally well. Coming out of the break, they were 5 of 7 in this half. And
well, this is a team that shoots 44% from the field. They lead the SWAC in field goal percentage, so they're used to shooting the ball well. It's simply about whether they don't turn it over, as we see another turnover for the Tigers. But when they get good looks, they have done a great job of taking advantage of them, and this is a good look from Polk Hilliard. Stepping out. Looks like his toe might have been on the line on that one, though. And it was. The officials only granting a 2-pointer on that shot.
This will be a 3-ball. If it finds, and it does, Tarico Simmons, a 41% 3-point shooter, knocks it down.
And Tarico Simmons actually giving the Delta Devils a lift. 2 straight buckets for him coming off the bench. So that's what you want from your reserves, to be able to come in and give you a lift, and Simmons has done just that. Somebody better find that man, though. I can tell you right now.
Well, his teammates are, but the defense isn't, and that is a 3 for Polk Hilliard. turned over by MVSU. You might have been able to hear Dante Jackson, the head coach for Grambling, yell out, "You got two shooters out there. You got two shooters."
Well, he talked to us a lot about defense earlier today. He is a defensive coach. It's the thing that he preaches the most, and he mentioned, I can't coach free throws, but I can coach defense, and he does it very well. And again, very vocal on the sidelines, alerting his team to the correct positioning and knowing the personnel on the floor, and it pays off. Another turnover.
Here, hand off there to Gaston. You got to think you're looking for Polk Hilliard here, and Jones Rollins is trying to stay with him and ends up with a steal. Jones Rollins will go, and he'll have a chance to go to the line and get his first points of the night. He does have 2 free throws, but still lacking in a 2-point or a 3-pointer. He's missed all 7 of his shots.
And just the basketball mishandled by Polk Hilliard on that play, allowing Jones Rollins to get out in transition. And that's a basket that I'm sure Jones Rollins would have loved to see go through just to get him going. You mentioned the free throws earlier, but it's nothing like seeing the field goal go through to build that confidence.
3 out of 3 from the line, the only points for the senior. Galveston, and even that won't go down. 9 of 15 for Mississippi Valley State from the free throw line. Left open.
Well, you can see that Grambling has a number of players that can stretch it from beyond the arc and stretch the defense, but great ball movement, and the back cut by Gaston actually allowed Moyle to be able to knock down that 3.
He doesn't shoot many, but he shoots at a very high percentage, just a little under 50. Watch this one find the bottom of the net. No one's going to cover him.
Too much space. 11 knocking it down and strumming the guitar as he pushes the lead to 20.
Giant comes with double the beef and bacon, nuggets, fries, and a drink. There's nothing junior about it except the price. For a limited time.
The internationally famous Grambling State Band brings us back in. We remind you about top 3 teams in the country playing on ESPN in our Saturday showcase, including first-ranked Tennessee, winners of 16 in a row. But the Gators are never an easy out. That's at 4 o'clock Eastern, to be followed by number 2 Duke and number 3 Virginia on a sonic blockbuster. So if you're out and about on a Saturday, as many of you are, stream it on the ESPN app. And there are a couple of guys you've talked about already tonight, Corey.
Well, and Trey Jones missed the first matchup where Duke was actually able to win at Cameron Indoor. And then Ty Jerome missed Virginia's win on Saturday with a back issue. So hopefully both these guys back in action for that big-time matchup that'll go down in Charlottesville on Saturday night.
It's interesting that Jones does not have gaudy statistics, but they need him. If they're going to succeed in March, they're going to need him.
Well, he's the ACC leader in assists, so that's pretty gaudy.
Now, the 5.6 per game. He has a very balanced stat line. And Dante Scott picking it up a little bit as three-point shooting getting a little bit better for Mississippi Valley State. In fact, in this half, they're 3 out of 5.
And remember, Scott playing with 4 fouls, though, so has to be very careful. But Coach Payne couldn't go any longer without Scott back in the game as they're starting to get away from the Delta Devils.
Rebound to Emmanuel E.J. Yeah, up until that shot, Scott had 4 points and 4 fouls. That is going to be an offensive foul.
And that's the second charge that Peart has taken in this game. And you don't often see the big guys taking charges. Normally they're trying to block shots, but this is another way to defend the rim. Peart getting over, getting great position outside of the restricted area and taking another charge and also another opportunity away from Jones Rollins.
That's his first personal foul, Jones Rollins. Oop, lost balance, kept the dribble. Ribeiro, great job there. And Poyo. Paul Hilliard in there, along with Ivy Smith Jr., who we talked about a lot tonight as one of the best point guards in the SWAC. Got a little sloppy there to the Tigers. Good hit-ahead pass from Jones Rollins, and he'll follow it up after the layup was missed. He gets his first points of the night from the field, And now he has a chance for a three-point play.
And that's not something you see often. Scott getting out with an opportunity. Jones Rollins with a great kick ahead. And we see Scott miss a layup, but Jones Rollins staying engaged in the game, following it up, gets his first field goal, as you mentioned, and an opportunity at the free throw line to make this a 14-point game, in which would be a 6-0 run.
Did you see the sweat line there?
Hey, coach is working hard. I respect that.
There's no doubt he's put everything he has into it.
And his team respects that because he knows that they're invested. He's invested in what they're doing out here today. Coaches come into work. He expects the same effort from his team.
He wants you to care as much as he does. Smith. 8 to shoot. Oh, beautiful spin move! Anthony Gaston. And a three ball missed, and Jackson continues to do really well on the boards. And one opportunity just missed by Smith, but he will go to the line with 9:40 to go.
And Dave, you said I can recognize the guy from Virginia. Well, this is how you recognize him. The beautiful spin move, the finish. My man, A.J. Gaston, getting it done in the paint. Beautiful finish to avoid the shot blocker.
First free throw,
good. 2 more points on the board.
Simmons hit with a third foul, and he gets a quick audience with head coach Andre Payne. Take a good look at a really terrific player. Makes them both. Just listed at 6 feet. Talks about listed weights. Listed heights can be fudged a little bit, too.
I think the weights might be valid. The heights may be a little bit off.
Nice down for a three ball that time from Jones Rollins. And if he gets going, there's comeback potential here for Mississippi Valley State.
Well, you remember the last time out we went to, it was a 20-point lead for Grambling. Now down to 15, and that's after the beautiful finish from Gaston and the free throws from Smith Jr. So the level of intensity has picked up for Mississippi Valley State, but can they sustain it?
Fancy footwork by Smith. His shot missed. The rebound was tapped out, and that's going to be a rebounding foul on Trayvon Bunch, who skied over everybody but went over the back as well.
But I love what Scott is doing on the interior, giving up probably about 8 inches or more on that, but continuing to box out, play hard with the 4 fouls, and still continuing to give his team a chance to get back into this game.
Bunch picking up his 3rd foul. But neither team in the bonus yet. Big 3 shot. That would have been huge if Jones Rollins was able to get that to go down.
It really would have, and it was on line, just falling up a little bit short. But I like that shot from Jones Rollins, being aggressive right now, and this is the time for Mississippi Valley State. You get your best players the basketball in their hands, allowing them to be successful. And Jones Rollins, the effort defensively, gets a possession back for the Delta Devils.
And if that's Bunch, that's going to be his 4th. And very quickly, he comes out of the game and just as fast. Poyo comes back in. He's played very well, too. Axel has with 8 rebounds and 12 points. And playing a little defense right here on Dante Scott. Saddled with 4 fouls. That's a travel.
And a tough time for a turnover right there. You can just feel a little bit more energy from Mississippi Valley State as they pick up full court defensively. Coach Payne still coaching hard and encouraging his team, but the time is not on their side right now. They've got to find a way to dig into this 15-point lead here relatively soon.
Interesting to see who gets this rebounding foul. We're going to stay right there, so that's going to be on Emmanuel EJ. That will be just his first. for players been very active underneath for MPSU. Shot blocked by the rim.
Well, that's the second time we've seen the fake handoff. It resulted in a dunk on the first time. And a great play by Jackson on that one, just unable to finish it off.
Yep, and Payo gets the offensive rebound. He is on his way to a double-double.
And you see, we watched in the first half where Jackson was able to finish. This time, not enough legs to be able to get that on the other side of the rim.
Zachary Barnes hit for that foul. Good looking for him on the 6'8 junior from Idaho. And again, statistically, not shooting it well from the foul line, but looked good there.
And we've also seen him step up and knock down a three-pointer, so has the ability to make shots. But as, you know, Coach Jackson mentioned to us earlier, he can't teach free throws. It's got something that these guys got to get into the gym and just put in reps, build some confidence at the free throw line, because that can be a difference maker for the Grambling State Tigers as the season goes along.
It's always amusing when you hear coaches after a game talk about free throws, so they get asked about free throws. And that basket's going to count, by the way, by Scott, who very boldly drew contact. Well, you know, what do? There's only so much you can do. Either make them or you don't make them. We're going to get a free throw opportunity for Dante Scott. Watch this. This guy's playing with 4 fouls and going after it. Calls both college and pro.
Well, and anything Doris Burke is on, I'm willing to watch.
Yes.
So Doris Burke or Mark Jackson, I can watch either one of those NBA games. I can watch any of these 4 games. All will be entertaining and great basketball, but
well, Stan Van Gundy won't lay out either. He'll let you know what's on his mind. You think his brother's outspoken. I've known Stan for a while. He's pretty outspoken himself. And Hubie and Dick Vitale together. Man, that will be fun.
Will be no empty air in that game.
no one will be letting you breathe.
You know what's going to be interesting is to see how many words Hubie can get in. You know, Dick Vitale, of course, tremendous respect for Hubie Brown, but
the good news is you got a real pro in Dan Schulman who doesn't have to talk. He'll understand.
I don't think he's going to have much opportunity to talk.
He's pretty aware of it. Dan will not need to bring any lozenges for this game. So that foul going against Devontae Jackson. Make that Empoyo number 11. That'll be 2 on him. He's had a great night, though. 14 points, 10 rebounds, couple of steals as well for number 11 over the home side.
And that goes back to, you know, what Coach Jackson talked to us about earlier in the day. It's someone different every night. You know, we came on the air talking about Ivy Smith, and this is, that is a very tough way to pick up a foul. Looks like Empoyo took the brunt of that contact.
Did he get in the cylinder? Maybe that was the problem. His face got in the cylinder.
He did evade the cylinder.
The other reason I don't like it is I was a D geometry student.
Oh, okay. That's what it is.
I think that's what it is.
So actually identifying what a cylinder is might be an issue.
I'm already in big trouble right there.
I can tell you right now what is not trouble for Ivy Smith is when he gets to his mid-range jump shot, it is good. I mean, we've seen him do that 3 or 4 times already. Off the dribble, getting to the mid-range, you can pretty much count that as a layup.
Well, Mississippi Valley State has picked up their offense without question. It seems like every time Grambling State needs a basket, there's a good one there for Dante Scott, they're getting it.
And give Dante Scott a lot of credit. Since he checked back in with about 10 minutes remaining in the game, playing with 4 fouls, he's been extremely aggressive on the offensive end of the floor and continues to defend and rebound without picking up that 5th foul.
Smith double screen that time, and that's going to be a blocking foul on EJ.
Ivy Smith off the dribble, and you see you go under the screen, which is a mistake in itself against a guy that can shoot the ball as well as Ivy Smith. But going under the screen, no way you can recover back and get Smith on the other side. And you see Ivy Smith also makes you pay at the free throw line for as many people we've talked about who are coming up short at the line. Ivy Smith leads the SWAC in free throws attempted and free throws made. So one of the best the league has to offer when he gets to the charity stripe.
He was on 100 made free throws when this night started. 132 attempts. Solid rejection that time by Empoyo, who continues to fill the stat sheet. And Simmons going to come out to guard Smith, who's a long way away from the bucket, and fake everybody out again with that look left, and he gets a free shot.
And then holds up the left hand to let the crowd know, yes, I did that with my left. I didn't shoot that right-handed. I went with the left.
He has turned it on in the last few minutes. And he'll draw a foul there.
He really has. And, you know, this is the guy that Coach Payne was most concerned about when he said we cannot let Ivy Smith take over the game. Well, what is happening right here? The nice ball fake, the left-hand finish. Hold the left up, young fella. Let everybody know how you just did that. And Coach Payne is getting what he feared the most coming into this building. Ivy Smith has taken over this basketball game.
He has 18 points. Averaging 12 on the year. Grambling trying to improve to 5-4 in conference play and get even for the whole year. Well, it's really going well tonight for Empoyo.
I tell you, Empoyo continues to get to play his guitar as well. His air guitar is getting a lot of work. He's going to have to start charging for this concert he's putting on.
Defense forced a tough shot for Marcus Mitchell. And he got a foul out of that. That's going to be on Empoyo. And that'll be 3.
And you see the SWAC's leading assist man finding Empoyo, who knocks down another 3.
It's 3 assists for Smith.
That's all?
That's it?
Wow.
No, he had 2 coming in. Let me look at that again. Nope, you know what? Make that 5.
Well, he's made a number of beautiful passes in this game, and he attracts so much attention that coming off the screen and roll with his ability to shoot the basketball, often commanding a double team, which is the ultimate respect in the game of basketball. When opposing teams feel like one person can't guard you, they need 2. But it also leaves your teammates at a disadvantage, and when you're doing that against Ivy Smith, he takes advantage of it.
Prince Moss comes into the game. Anthony Gaston checks out for Grambling State. They seized control of this game with a 10-point lead at halftime, and they have expanded on that, even though they turned it over there with Jones Rollins. And just a little contact on Ivy Smith was enough. And on Ivy Smith Jr., that is his 3rd foul. Patrick Rucker about to check in. As we take a look at Jones Rollins. He's had a tough night for the field, 2 out of 10. About 5 of 6 from the line. And Rucker in for Simmons.
I really like what Simmons has done, though, for Mississippi Valley State, where they struggle with having a true floor leader on the floor. Simmons may be someone that can take over that role. We saw him have a stretch where he's scored 5 quick points in a row, but more importantly, what he does defensively, I think, can really help this team. And also could at times put Jordan Evans off the basketball, allowing him to shoot and do what he does best.
6 to shoot. Hey, why not? Yes! Yes! Empoyo just continues to have an unbelievable evening, and now a steal. Smith, alley, too high. That would have got them out of their seats.
I tell you what, it got them out of their seats anyway.
The pass got them going. We could feel the vibration of them jumping up. He disdained the 3 that time and almost threw it over here, but a good catch by Polk Hilliard. No, sir. Offensive foul. We've had a lot of charges here on the night. That's at least 4. And Polk Hilliard a little slow. Needs Melt to get up. We'll step aside with Grambling continuing to roll, and it's all Empoyo night.
And Empoyo, another 3, getting the home bounce. And I'm certain there was some level of guitar playing after that night.
Take a look at Ivy Smith Jr. He was all SWAC first team last year. I like his chances of making it this year, too.
Well, and his mom is wanting great pictures of him tonight, but she's getting extra great video when you think about everything that he's been able to do, knocking down jumper after jumper, finishing with the left hand, and letting the crowd know exactly what he's doing. Also finding his teammates. Look at that stat line, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists on only 10 field goals, and maybe not even having the best night of a Grambling Tiger here.
Yeah, but he's no Shaquille Hill. Just saying.
This is true.
Quadruple double queen join us in the first half from the Grambling women's team. She didn't get one tonight, but she has 2 in her career, which has never been done before in college basketball. Yes, it continues to be a Pollo night. And the roof is collapsing on Mississippi Valley State.
I tell you what, it almost collapsed in here because everyone behind us was pretty much out on the court as Empoyo almost brought the rim down.
My goodness, it is wide open now. Timeout called by Grambling. They're going to get a chance to perhaps empty the bench a little bit here. Alex Empoyo having a night.
Well, Axel's been playing the guitar all night, and this time he's playing a high note.
Really your family's story. I can't wait to see what I'm going to discover next.
20 million members have connected to a deeper family story. Order your kit at Ancestry.com.
Here is our score, and there are the 2 players primarily responsible for Grambling State, Ivy Smith and Axel Empoyo.
And Axel Empoyo got it started attacking the rim. He's flexed. He shot the 3 for 4 on the evening. He's blocked shots, got it done defensively, and he almost brought the house down.
And the rim.
With the follow-up slam. And a career-high 22 points for him with 8 of 10 shooting, 3 for 4 from the three-point line, and add in 10 rebounds just for good measure. A 2010 night. And if you're going to do it, what better time to do it than when you're on national TV?
That's right. We have a shot clock issue that did not start there. Just taking a quick look at what else is going on in the SWAC. Jackson State up by 13 over Pine Bluff. Just under 2 minutes left in that one. Prairie View A&M and Alabama State, 4-point difference with Prairie View on top with 3:46 to go. Every day is moving day right now in the SWAC, with only 8 teams being invited to the tournament this year in Birmingham, Alabama. That's a positive drive that time by Caleb Allison.
And Caleb Allison splits time as a defensive end on the football field in the fall. And, of course, coming in manning the post during the winter for the basketball team. So the young man taking full advantage of his scholastic days.
Thing here for Grambling State. They won the division, the conference last year in the regular season, but because of academic issues, they were not allowed in the postseason. This year they are.
Well, and turnovers have been the issue for them this season. If they can clean that up, you have a team that could potentially represent the SWAC conference in the NCAA tournament. Coach Jackson talked to us about the fact that they wanted to be playing their best basketball in March, as does everyone in the league, because this is going to be a league that only gets one team into the NCAA tournament. Right now, Prairie View A&M sitting pretty at the top at 8-0. Teams are going to have to have great finishes to catch them.
Well, their lead is only 2 over Alabama State right now. And that would tighten things up considerably in the SWAC. Mississippi Valley State about to drop to 1-8, and Grambling will go to 5-4. And for Mississippi Valley State, we mentioned they haven't won on the road yet. They don't get to play at home until Alcorn on the 16th of February. 3-ball goes in for Barnes. They've got to do the Alabama shuffle, play Alabama A&M and Alabama State on a Saturday and Monday, their next two games. And for the Tigers, they too hit the road, Southern and Alcorn on a Saturday, Monday. They'll feel good about themselves for a couple of days anyway. A solid block there by the two-sport star, and then unable to hang on to it were the teammates. $1:08 to go in this one. No basket. And an offensive foul called there on Bunch. Minute 5 left in this one. And knocked out of bounds with 53.4 to go. Grambling State now 11-11 when this is over with. Is Grambling State playing their best basketball right now for the season? They come in off of a victory the other night over Arkansas Pine Bluff, a convincing one, 79-55. They've had all these interesting streaks in conference play. They open up with a couple of losses in conference, and they win 3 in a row, then they lose 2 in a row. Now they're about to win 2 in a row. Shot clock is off. Well, maybe not. Let's see what they're... Official just making sure that the clock is correct. And much like the coaches coach to the end, the officials have to work to the end of the game too, regardless of score.
Absolutely.
And you look down at the bench over there, and I see Andre Payne fully engaged with one of his players in the waning seconds of a defeat, and he is still teaching and coaching. As is Dante Jackson, by the way. He just has not changed his wardrobe.
It's not a job that stops. I mean, you're constantly coaching. You're constantly trying to prepare as much as you can for the next game. And regardless of the score, you try to take something that helps you, gives you an opportunity to win the next one.
That'll do it for this one. Grambling State now 500 overall for the year, and most importantly, 5-4 in conference play. And Mississippi Valley State will head home first and then back out on the road for 2 games in Alabama. So a couple of big games tonight, Corey, for 2 players for Grambling State. That guy right there, Ivy Smith Jr., and also Axel Empoyo, who had a magnificent evening filling up the scorebook.
And what you didn't see from Grambling State was a tremendous amount of turnovers. Still too many turnovers, but the way they shot the basketball can help them continue to get better and try to find their way back to the top of the SWAC.
And a solid defensive night as well for Grambling State.
AT&T is America's best wireless network according to America's biggest test. Now with 5GE. More for your thing. That's our thing.
We mentioned Grambling State is a home of traditions. This is another one right there, the school song after a victory. And this was a convincing one. Remember, it was 20-14 at one point, and then Grambling State took off and left them behind. SportsCenter tonight after West Virginia, Texas Tech with Kenny Mayne and John Anderson. Kobe Bryant will take you through his state of the NBA. Woj will have the latest on Anthony Davis trade talk, and, of course, the NFL playoff top play. SportsCenter, 11 Eastern on ESPN and on the ESPN app. Well, Corey, what do you think of Grambling's chances now? It looks solid for them to be in that tournament, but what about winning the whole thing for the SWAC and getting into the NCAAs?
Well, I think that they're playing better basketball, and again, if they can keep their turnovers under control, what they should be able to do with their great point guard, Ivy Smith Jr., I think we could see this team representing the SWAC in the NCAA tournament.
And they got a great play tonight from Empoyo, and they're trying to get it from different players every night besides Smith, and tonight they certainly did. For Corey Alexander and our entire ESPN crew, we thank you for watching Big Monday from Grambling State on ESPN.